One.
All right. Hey, you guys. Happy Friday afternoon. I'm going to get this done, get it sent out to you for homework. So, what we're going to start talking about next week is having to do with taxonomy. We're coming up on the end of Big Idea 1, getting ready for your unit test. So, just a couple background things. Taxonomy is an ordered division of organisms into categories based on a set of characteristics used to assess similarities and differences. Binomial nomenclature is a two-part naming system that consists of the genus to which a species belongs, as well as the organism species within the genus, such as Canis familiaris, the scientific name of the common dog. This system was developed by Carlos Linnaeus. The hierarchical classification of organisms consists of the following levels, beginning with the most general or inclusive. That would be domain. Then we have kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Each categorization at any level is called a taxon. Phylogeny is the evolutionary history of a species or a group of related species. It is constructed by using evidence from systematics, a discipline that focuses on classifying organisms and their evolutionary relationships. Nice. Many different disciplines provide evidence that supports biological evolution and may be used to determine phylogeny. These tools include fossils, morphology, DNA and genetic analysis, and molecular evidence. Systemists, or scientists who study systematics, use branching diagrams called phylogenetic trees to depict hypotheses about evolutionary relationships. The branches of such trees reflect the hierarchical classification of groups nested within more inclusive groups. So my question to you is, this is a hyena. Would you classify it with cats or dogs? Actually, you wouldn't do either. It belongs to a separate family called Hyenidae. I bet you thought they were like dogs, didn't you? Shared derived characters are used to construct cladograms. They are evolutionary novelties unique to a particular clade. For example, hair is a shared derived character of mammals. A cladogram depicts patterns of shared characteristics among taxa and forms the basis of a phylogenetic tree. A shared ancestral characteristic is one that originates in an ancestor of the taxon. For example, all mammals have backbones, but a backbone does not distinguish a mammal from other vertebrates because all vertebrates have a backbone. A clade within a tree is defined as a group of species that includes an ancestral species and all of its descendants. Clades are monophyletic, which means the prefix means one. So the diagram that you see here only includes 3 species, but it's a clade because it includes the common ancestor of 1, 2, and 3. And so this would be like a branching, if you will, off of the larger phylogenetic tree. So let's practice. The best way to figure out if it's a clade or not is if you could pretend that this is an actual tree, and if you can cut a branch and the whole thing falls off in one big group, that's a clade. So this is a clade. This whole thing pops off. This is a clade. This is not a clade. There's no way to trim one branch to get this grouping. This is also not a clade. Now, how could you turn this orange one into a clade? You're right, trim it down here, and that picks up this group. Okay, so let's look at the example at the bottom of your note sheet. So here we have a phylogenetic tree, or actually it's more like a cladogram, it's just a branch. So we have the clam, a shark, a bluegill, a salamander, a raccoon, a human, iguana, alligator, and crow. Okay, so first of all, the thing to know is that evolutionary time flows in this direction. So further back in time are these derived characteristics, and further forward in time are these. So let's just go ahead and get rid of one of these boxes. Okay, so the derived characteristic that we're looking at is a backbone. So from this point forward in time, All of those animals have a backbone. They're vertebrates. The clam is an invertebrate, so he gets put off to the side and in what we call an outgroup. He is the least related because he is an invertebrate and doesn't have a backbone. All right, the next derived characteristic is a bony skeleton. Sharks have a skeleton made of cartilage. They become an outgroup, so they are least related to all the rest of the vertebrates in the clade. Now we have 4 limbs. Well, that kicks out the bluegill because it's a fish. Now we start to see the transition to amphibians and land vertebrates. The next characteristic is the amniotic egg. Salamanders and all other amphibians lay eggs in water. They don't have a shell or an amnion, but the raccoon and everything forward does. Now you're going to say, Miss Ellis, raccoons don't lay eggs. I know that. What I'm saying is raccoons and humans have an amniotic egg inside the female, right? It's a mammal. So, but the rest of them do have eggs. Okay, the characteristic that gets the raccoon and human into their own off group is hair. So the raccoon and human are least related to the 3 organisms that are left in the clade. The characteristic that is shared by the iguana, the alligator, and the crow is 2 openings behind the eye, and it's in their skull, and it's a bird reptile thing. But again, from this point forward, all the animals have that characteristic. And then last but not least is the opening in front of the eye that is only shared by the alligator and crow. So the way we read this is these animals are most closely related in the vertebrate clade, and this clam way over here, he's an outlier. He's in the outgroup. He's an invertebrate. He shares none of the other characteristics other than being an animal. Okay, last but not least, just a couple questions for you. You can pause and answer. So here we have the cuticle. Now this is a characteristic. Would it be shared by all members of the clade or none of the members of the clade? It will be all the members of the clade. What about chitin in the exoskeleton? Is it going to be all of these? No, it's just going to be these down here. What about jointed appendages? Jointed appendages are only going to be found in these 4 groups. The rest are unjointed. All right, rewind, pause, whatever you need to do, and I'll talk to you later.